I'm with Paushali Lass, who is in Germany. Now, there's a global vigil that is taking place. Can you tell us a bit more about this global vigil?
Yes, the Global Vigil is organized by March of Life as a part of their global campaign. And we are organizing it also in Düsseldorf as part of this global campaign, Düsseldorf, Germany. And the vigil is actually remembering the victims of October 7th last year.
Wow. Yeah. Now, you're doing it at 5:29 in the morning. Why are you doing it so early?
Well, we are following the Israeli time 6:29 in the morning. That's the time that the Hamas terrorists entered Israel last year, and we want to remember that. And that's really a very small price for us to pay. Yes, it's uncomfortable getting up so early in the morning, but that's the way we want to commemorate, really. That's the least I feel like I can do for all those who suffered horrific stuff last year.
Yeah. Now, you're doing it outside in front of the Dusseldorf synagogue. How many people are you expecting to attend?
At the moment, I don't know because we also have a rally the day before as a memorial event. So I don't know how many people will turn up again the next day. So we might have only very committed people. I don't really know at the moment, but I hope as many come. But I don't really know. Maybe around 50. I hope 50 people turn up. But there is also a vigil organized by the Jewish community of Düsseldorf in the evenings. So yeah,
It's just a
maybe.
real couple of days of remembrance, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We cannot afford to forget what happened on October 7th last year. So this is just our way of remembering and keeping the memories of the victims alive.
Are you going to have a march?
We are going to have a march on the 6th of October, so that's a Sunday, and that's when we are able to get most people in town on that day. So we're going to actually have a march and in the end, a memorial event with several speakers and some parliamentarians and politicians in our city, in our state, on Sunday, the 6th of October.
Are you going to have some music as well?
Yes, we're gonna have music. We're gonna have a couple of dances. Yes, like solemn dances. Yes, we're gonna have also just speeches, why it's important to stand with Israel, why it's important to take a stand against the rising anti-Semitism also in Germany. So, yeah.
This is all part of March for Life. What is March for Life?
It's called March of Life, the March of Life movement, and actually started 17 years ago by Job Spittner in the south of Germany when there were several people who discovered that they had ancestors who had taken part in the Holocaust, as in they are descendants of Nazi perpetrators. And when they found out, they were shocked and they wanted to do something about it. And yeah, so since then, the last 17 years, they hold marches and vigils around Germany, but very quickly it became a worldwide movement. And it's about remembering the Holocaust. It's about reconciling with the victims of the Holocaust. And yes, so that's a big ministry. And once a year, actually, there's a big March of the Nations that happens in Jerusalem, where, they're able to show the people of Israel that we are there for you. We comfort you. We stand with you. And never again, we mean it, that there will never be again a Holocaust. So, especially now, it's really important to take a stand with all the things that's going on since October 7th around the world.
And of course, October the 7th was one of the biggest attacks on Israel in its history, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, biggest attack on Jews since the Holocaust, but on Israeli soil since the establishment of the modern state of Israel. Definitely. Yeah.
I imagine there's still a lot of sadness 1 year on. And of course, there are still hostages still in Gaza as well.
Exactly. We cannot afford to forget them. And the enemies of Israel strike Israel all the time on all different sides, but we mustn't allow ourselves to get distracted because there are still 101 bodies, hostages, people, beautiful souls still stuck in the dungeons of Gaza. We don't know where they are, but yeah, they are there. And their
Do you
families
think
are
the
eagerly waiting for them to come back.
do you think the hostages have been forgotten about? We really can't imagine what they're going through, can we?
No, we can't. And if we hear even a little bit from those who have come out, who were rescued, I mean, it's just I mean, I can only imagine that it's absolutely horrible, but exactly what they went through, I don't think any of our human minds can even imagine. Really, we don't know, but we cannot afford to forget them. Yeah, and I think many people are forgetting that there are hostages, because there's so much talk about genocide in Gaza and people of Gaza suffering so much and all that. And of course, they are suffering as well, but I see that more as a war casualty and collateral damage as compared to what happened in Israel to Israeli civilians. And even now, if those hostages are released, then the war in Gaza can stop tomorrow. So, yeah, I think people should really not forget, and they should pressure their governments to pressure Hamas, to pressure Iran, Qatar, whoever, to release the hostages.
Why did you want to get involved in this project?
Well, there are many things because I am a firm supporter of Israel's right to exist and Israel's, well, biblical importance of Israel. But also, I've been in Israel twice since the start of the war, and I have been to places where I've seen, witnessed the aftermath of the horrors that Hamas committed on 7th of October. So I do it for the sake of the people I have met there, for the sake of those who were murdered and I could witness the aftermaths of what happened, burnt cars and burned streets and talking to the people in southern Israel. So I can't forget that. So for me, it's like personal also,
Mm.
anything to keep the memories alive. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to see some of the destruction in Sderot and also went to the Nova Music Festival where so many people were murdered and massacred there. What was your feeling when you saw some of the things like that?
Well, it was it's one thing reading in the media and listening to the news and all that, but quite another just being there on the same grounds where those things happened and just to imagine the panic. And I mean, you've been there too. We've been there together. And I feel like, even when we went to the Nova Music Festival site, even though it was like huge open grounds, but I can imagine once the terrorists come in large numbers and then there's nowhere to go and there's only this one street out, one street exit, which was also full with terrorists. So where would the people have even gone? Where would they have hidden in open spaces? So it's just being there and seeing the grounds and also still seeing the beer bottles, empty cans, and even somebody's key hanging from a tree. And those symbols, it's just like, this is not just something that I read in the media about, but this is something actual events happened on the same ground I was standing. I also spoke to people who were involved in fighting the terrorists on the 7th of October for hours. So when you speak to people, when you hear their emotions, you feel it. So it was just very intense, very intensely emotional. So yeah, can't
Mm.
forget that.
Do you think do you think it's going to be a very emotional day when you have your remembrance?
Yes, I think so. In some ways, I feel like being one of the main organizers, it's kind of like all these practicalities need to be kept in mind so that we are able to organize an event. And that sort of keeps the mind busy and distracted. But I feel like I can't forget. I'm just a bit afraid also that my emotions might get a bit too heavy, and I just hope that I can keep a little bit like my emotions under control just to get this event, done. So yeah, I can't really be that neutral and stable, I guess, but I hope that I will be able to. Yeah, it will be emotional, yes.
Yeah. I imagine the Jewish community appreciate what you're doing.
Well, I hope so. Yeah, I think they've been very cooperative and we are doing it together. But I had promised the director of the Jewish community that we cannot let them be alone, because since the start of the 7th of October, actually, it's only the Jewish community which has really initiated rallies, initiated events concerning October 7th or concerning whatever has been going on in Israel. So I think it's time that the larger part of the society also takes a stand and takes the initiative to do something, so that they know also the Jews of this city, the Jews of this country are not alone. It's very important, I think.
We've seen a lot of Palestinian protests. How is anti-Semitism in Germany at the moment?
Well, it's exploded as in many other places. The German government, the German police, I have to say, are very good with it. Like in many places, there's zero tolerance for hate speeches, yet it's a democracy. And we have seen a lot of pro-Palestinian protests and waving of the caliphate flags. And, well, the slogan from to the sea is banned now in Germany. But I don't know. I mean, I guess they, in their hate marches, they do try to say something. But I was once in a counter protest in one of these university encampments in our city. And there were only about, well, maybe 20, 25 of us from the Israeli side. And the opposite side in this pro-Palestinian protest, there was just so much anger and hatred. And yeah, it's just actually a very unpleasant feeling to be around because it's ultimately it's not about, I feel, these people, most of the people who are taking part in it, it's not really about caring really for the people in Palestine. It's more anti-Israel, I feel. It's really all the hatred directed towards Israel. So, yeah. Because if they were really concerned about the people in Gaza, they would be pressuring the right people to release the hostages and it's over, but it's just all sorts of anti-Israel messages, which are quite disturbing actually sometimes, the way they talk, the way they do things. Yeah. Jewish people are actually facing a lot of like hate messages and, things like in the main University of Dusseldorf, there were on the main boards, on the whiteboards, there were things written like Jews, sorry about that, Jews in Auschwitz, Jews in concentration camps and gas chambers. So, this is Germany we are talking about, and this is the country where the Holocaust happened. So, you know, it's quite shocking, actually. Imagine being a Jew and seeing those messages in the university that you attend. And I've heard actually the university staff in many instances did not even do anything about it, did not take any steps. So this is something is beyond words for me. Yeah,
It's quite shocking, isn't it? Yeah. What is
absolutely.
your prayer for this event?
My prayer is definitely protection, because even though we have police protection, there might be, some crazy people trying to disturb everything. So protection and yeah, that there is peace. The peace that passes all understanding will be among those who attend this rally or attend the vigil, that we can really honor the memory of those that we are commemorating. Yeah.
So, if people want to get involved in this vigil, do you have a contact details at all?
Yes, my contact, or they can organize a worldwide, anywhere in the world, vigil on marchoflife.org. So www.marchoflife.org.
Paushali, thank you very much for sharing today.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.